大家好，我是 Martin, and this is Short Stories brought to you by the Taichung Keda Language Center. Today we are going to read a story by author Jules Verne. The story we are going to read today is called Around the World in 80 Days, which was first published in 1873. I find this story interesting for many reasons, but one reason is that it kind of predicts the age of globalization. You see, when Jules Verne was writing this book, traveling around the world was not easy. It was expensive and dangerous and slow. So the idea that you could travel around the world in just 80 days was a technological miracle for them. And it was because of the technology that was developed in Jules Verne's lifetime that we now have the ability to travel around the world today. Well, that makes it very exciting then, doesn't it? Okay, so before we begin the book, I will, of course, tell you the vocabulary and vocabulary example sentences. And when we are done with the story, we will review with some reading comprehension questions. Are you ready? Let's do the vocabulary. Vocabulary. Wealthy. Wealthy. Some people try to become wealthy by starting their own company. Acquaintance. Acquaintance. Joseph saw some acquaintances at his co-worker's wedding party. Voyage. Voyage. NASA used rockets in the 1960s to make the voyage to the moon. Harbor. Harbor. When ship captains see a lighthouse, they know they are near a harbor. Infamous. Infamous. The face of the infamous bank robber was on the front page of the newspaper. Suspect. Suspect. Police arrested several suspects who looked like the robber. Stretch. Stretch. The train went completely straight for a stretch of 100 kilometers. Determined. Determined. The climber was determined to reach the top of the tall mountain. Within. Within. People are not allowed to carry dangerous items within school buildings. Soil. Soil. The Vikings were the first Europeans to set foot on North American soil. Hurriedly. Hurriedly. Cindy got up late, so she hurriedly got dressed and rushed to school. Destined. Destined. Pamela caught a plane destined for Singapore to begin her vacation. Tremendous. Tremendous. Many athletes have tremendous appetites and eat large meals. Desperate. Desperate. The man was desperate for money, so he took any job available. Bound for. Bound for. This bus is bound directly for the airport, so it won't make any extra stops. bribe, bribe. The politician was found bribing people to vote for him. Authority, authority. Authorities told people not to go fishing during the typhoon. Okay, that's the vocabulary. Now we will read the story. Here we go. In the 19th century, Phileas Fogg, a wealthy Englishman, lives alone in London. One day, Fogg and his acquaintances are reading the daily newspapers. They see an article which says it is possible to travel around the world in 80 days because of a new rail line in India. Instead of sailing around the length of India, they can save time by taking the new train. The men argue about whether the worldwide voyage can be done or not. Fogg claims he can do it and takes a bet with a wager of £20,000. He calls his assistant, Jean Passepartout, and tells him to pack their luggage. That same day, they get on a train to the nearest harbor. The two men board a steamer boat to the Suez Canal in Egypt and arrive in the Middle East in 7 days. A British detective named Fix is also at the canal, looking for the infamous bank robber. As it turns out, Fogg looks and acts similar to the suspect, and Fix is convinced he has found the robber. Fix gets on board a ship heading for Bombay, a city on the west coast of India, and meets Fogg and Passepartout. He doesn't reveal his purpose since he can't get an arrest warrant right away. He watches them for 13 days on the Red Sea and Indian Ocean. Finally, the men alight in Bombay and hop on a train to Calcutta. As the train crosses India, Fogg learns that the newspaper article was wrong. The rail line stops for a stretch of 50 miles and fails to span the country. Nervous but determined, he rents an elephant, and within 3 days, the adventurers reach Calcutta. Soon after, the men get on another steamer, this time for Hong Kong, on a 13-day trip. Because Hong Kong is British soil, Fix sees this as his chance to arrest Fogg. When the men reach Victoria Harbor, Fix drugs Passepartout. The dazed assistant then boards the boat alone for Yokohama, Japan, which makes Fogg miss the boat. Stranded, he boards a steamer for Shanghai, China, and hurriedly catches another boat there destined for Yokohama to continue the race and find his assistant. When he gets to Yokohama, Fogg finds Passepartout performing in a circus to earn money. Immediately, they rush to get on a ship and sail across the Pacific Ocean to San Francisco. They then take a train to New York City, but the train encounters a tremendous herd of bison, a precarious, failing bridge, and vicious attack by Sioux Indians. Fogg and Passepartout almost give up hope. After arriving in New York City, they find they've missed their boat. Desperate, they take one bound for France instead, and bribe the crew to mutiny and set sail for England. As they land on British soil, however, Fix produces an arrest warrant for Fogg and detains him. But soon after, Fix learns that authorities caught the real bank robber already. Fogg misses his train and arrives in London 5 minutes late, certain that he has lost the bet. But since Fogg passed the international date line, he actually gained a day and traveled across the world in exactly 80 days. Fogg and Passepartout win the bet after all and are glad to be home, safe and sound. Wow, that's a good story. Exciting, adventure, travel and see the world. Those were pretty big things back then. I know today you can just take an airplane to Hong Kong, but back then it was a pretty big deal. Okay, now let's do some reading comprehension questions. I will read 4 questions. You do your best to answer them. Question number 1. Who was Phileas Fogg's assistant? A. Mr. Fix. B. Victoria Harbour. C. Jean Passepartout. D. Jackie Chan. The answer is C. Jean Passepartout. His name, by the way, is a play on words for the French word for skeleton key and the English word for passport. Yeah, go anywhere. Question 2. Why was Mr. Fix trying to catch Mr. Fogg? A. Phileas Fogg looked like a bank robber. B. Phileas Fogg was a bank robber. C. Phileas Fogg was traveling without a passport. D. Mr. Fix wanted to win the bet. The answer is A. Phileas Fogg looked like a bank robber. He wasn't the bank robber, but he looked like him. We call that mistaken identity. Question 3. Fogg learned that the railway in India did not span the country. How did he get across India? A. He took another train. B. He took a ship. C. He hired a taxi. D. He rented an elephant. I think you know the answer. It is D. He rented an elephant. Question 4. Which of these is not a city that Fogg visited? Not a city that Fogg visited. A. London. B. Suez. C. Hong Kong. D. Taipei. I think you know the answer is D. Taipei. He didn't go to Taiwan. I'm sorry. Even back then, Taiwan was not an important place. Oh, so sad. Okay. Well, thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of luck on all your global journeys. All right. Bye-bye.